And everyone, please take their seats. We are going to start our meeting, and I want to thank everybody that's here for being here. Giovanna, Pauletta, Joan, board members, Andrew and Bart, Carmen, and who's the gentleman back there? Anyway, thank you for being here. Let's start with roll call. Joan?
Charles Long,
Here.
Chris Mortensen,
Here.
Michael Shaw,
Here.
Priscilla Manuelito, Kevin Mitchell.
Here.
Thank you, Joan. I believe we do have a quorum. Let's call our meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, thank you, board members. Let's go down to item 2, approval of the agenda for today's meeting. Board members?
Mr. President, I would like to pull 4F and 6A from the agenda. And with that, I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with those 2 changes.
Okay, board members, you've heard the motion. Michael Schaaf wants to approve the meeting agenda for today with items 6A and 4F to be pulled.
Mr.
So-
President, can we just real quick talk about those and if there's any reason why or anything?
Yes, Giovanna?
Mr. Long, Mr. Mortensen, this is at the request of administration. We had 2 items on there that we were hoping that we would get the documentation that we would need by this meeting. However, that documentation has not arrived, and as such, we've asked for those items to be pulled.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, and then I think we haven't received a contract or anything from the Navajo Nation on GOM, right, Pauletta?
Mr. Long, members of the board, yes, we have not received the formal approval, but I just now received a copy of the cover page. I don't know if that's acceptable or not. It does have the amount of award, but no contract number yet from Navajo Nation.
Yeah. So those are 2 reasons.
Makes sense.
Okay, is there a second to the motion on approving the agenda? Or did you second it, Chris?
I'll second
Okay,
the agenda.
so we have a motion on the floor. Roll call, Joan?
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen,
Abstain.
Mr. Long.
Yes. Okay, thank you, board members. We have approved our agenda for today's meeting. Let's go down to 2A, recognition. New Mexico Mesa. You've got the floor.
Thank you, members of the board. I am Shandina Smith. I am the West Region Coordinator for New Mexico Mesa. We cover 15 schools here in the West Region. We are a statewide program. We have over 100 schools in our in the state, and here in the West Region, we mainly have GMCS as one of our biggest districts in the state or in this region. We also have schools in Farmington and in Grants. So if you're not familiar with our program, we are a STEM program, so we provide enrichment to students across the Navajo Reservation, of course in New Mexico, and provide STEM activities. When we first started, when the COVID-19 hit us, it impacted a lot of our students, as you guys are all aware. It was a big challenge to try to get our students the necessary activities and all of their activities that they can do at home. However, we did have some very outgoing students from Tohatchee High School that came forward and wanted to continue what they had started originally in the beginning of the school year. New Mexico Mesa is a partner of New Mexico Tech in Socorro, and we actually have a partnership with them where they invite a lot of our schools to be a part of their program, which is called Wolves Den. It's a competition, and it covers, or actually entails, promoting entrepreneurship. So the students here that you'll see today, they came up with an idea that was actually a prototype of a cell phone signal booster. So it was a prototype of just materials that they had at home that they were able to build on their own with the help of some mentors that they met through New Mexico Mesa and New Mexico Tech. And if you recall, there was actually a article in the paper, I believe it was the Navajo Times. These same students actually competed in the Governor's Challenge early on. I believe that was in September, and they won the Governor's Challenge there. So they improved their design. They made some tweaks to their prototype, and New Mexico Tech actually offered a spot for them to compete in the Wolves Den competition, which happened in April, and they won against college students, no less. Like these guys were the only high school competitors against the competitors at the Wolves Den, and they won. So I'm super proud of them. Their teacher, who is Drew Heilman, she's from Tohatchee High School. She's not able to be here today. She, with them, worked very hard on this project. We are so happy, and I just wanted to kind of showcase them today. The students are Chad Key. Come on forward, guys. Go ahead, come on. Come up here, and I'll give you guys, or actually, if you could grab one pack of the stuff there. It's all wiped down. The first pack, yeah, right there. Grab that. The whole thing, yeah. Yeah, that one too. Chad Key, Matthew Manuelito. And then stand right here. Tahira Mason. Go ahead and stand on that side. 6 feet. 6 feet, guys. 6 feet. And I believe Cypress is still on his way. He was stuck in traffic. But Cypress Mike. So we wanted to recognize, yes, thank you. We wanted to recognize these students. They worked really hard through the pandemic. Their teacher was really, these guys don't live in Tohatchee. I think I think Tahira does. However, the other individuals do not live in Tohatchee. So their teacher, with all the might shit she could, even having to curfews and all of that, she got them actually all of the equipment that they needed. It was a virtual competition. So she was driving 40 miles out of Tohatchee to get them laptops and USB drives and whatever they needed to complete the competition. And so without her, I know she's not here, but if we could give her also a round of applause, I really do commend the Mesa teachers that we have that work with each of these students. And also New Mexico Tech, and I don't know if these guys know yet, but these guys actually are getting a $1,500 scholarship from New Mexico Tech because of their efforts. So thank you so much. But thank you, members of the board. I really wanted to showcase these individuals and these wonderful students, and I stand behind them 100%, as sure as you do also. And these are our students that we want to really highlight and showcase for the future.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of you.
Yep, congratulations. Good job.
But congratulations to all of you. You did a fantastic job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Let's go down to item 3. We have 3 meeting minutes that need to be approved. Let's start with 3A, May 11th, regular meeting, board members.
I would like to make a motion, we approve the minutes of May 11th, 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. President.
Okay, Chris. Second. Roll call, John?
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen,
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes. Okay, we approved that one. Let's go down to 3B, the June 1st regular meeting, board members.
I would like to make a motion, we approve the June 1st, 2020 regular meeting.
Okay, a motion's been made by Michael Shaw
I'll
to
second.
approve the June 1st regular meeting minutes, second by Chris Mortensen. Roll call, John?
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen,
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes. Thank you, board members. We approved that. Let's go down to 3C, June 12, special meeting minutes, board members.
I would like to make a motion, we approve the June 12th, 2020 special meeting minutes.
Okay, motion's been made by Michael Shaw to approve the June 12th special meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay, Chris. Second by Chris Mortensen. Roll call, Joan?
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen,
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes. Thank you, board members. We've approved all the meeting minutes. Item number 4, consent agenda items, board members.
I would like to make a motion that we approve of the consent agenda items 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E.
Okay, motion's been made by Michael Shaw. Is there a second?
Second.
Kevin Mitchell seconds. Roll call, Joan?
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen,
Abstain.
Mr. Long.
Yes. Thank you, board members. We approve the consent agenda items by a vote of 3, 0, and 1. Let's go down to study circle reports. Giovanna?
Mr. Long, members of the board, I did place in front of you the Legislative Education Study Committee supplement sheet. It's an analysis of the changes that were approved by the Senate and the House of Representatives over the weekend. This legislation is not yet signed. It is both House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 6, which is been deemed the sanding bill in order to reduce funding of the state equalization guarantee. And just to let you guys know, the column furthest to the left is our current operating budget. The next column is what was actually approved earlier this year for fiscal year 21. And then the next column shows the revised amounts, House Bill 1 with the HAFC adjustments, and then the actual difference. And for state equalization guarantee, there's a $40 million cut to K-5 plus programs. That leaves $79.8 million in that appropriation, and the legislature throughout did plead with the Public Education Department to allow school districts to add those days during the school year, because PED has chosen to remove our ability to utilize those days in July. So we shall see what comes of the Public Education Department. PE, they cut $6 million. PE units were established in 2006, 2007, and have remained static since that date. So that program has essentially been underfunded since 06, 07. This was an attempt to fix that program, and it's been removed. Mentorship stipends, that was a new initiative to come forward in FY21 to help new teachers as they develop into the profession. That was a $4.2 million cut. Early literacy and reading support programs was another $2 million cut. That's also a program that was coming forward new in FY21. Compensation has been cut by $92.6 million. There's been some miscommunication about what was actually passed as far as compensation. While there was some language around funding for approximately a 1% increase, there is no statutory requirement for any district to actually implement a 1% increase. Most of the conversation at the legislative session was about mitigating any increases to health insurance costs. And so one of the things that this bill also did, we were supposed to have an increase of 8.7% in insurance costs. The legislature has now capped that at 6%. We're just not quite sure what that's going to do, because those rates, because we're a self-funded insurer, all of our payments do all of our claims. So we're not sure what that's going to do, if that's going to mean that NIPSC is going to have to reduce services. We just don't know at this time. So as soon as we receive notification from NIPSC, we'll let the board know on that. They did take out impact aid, $67 million credit, and then add back in a $31 million kind of hold harmless initiative. This is in the hopes that PED's FY21 disparity analysis actually passes. The district has already requested a hearing for FY21, so that is yet undetermined as to whether any of those funds will be sufficient. The overall SEG has been cut by $32.3 million, and there was an ESSER care swap of $44.6 million. The total reduction for the state equalization guarantee statewide is $190 million. Some of the information that you may have heard coming out is about swapping the federal money with state money to mitigate the losses. As the board may remember, the district actually received our federal funding earlier this year, and we right away started doing what we need to do in order to order things. We've already ordered the iPads for K2. We've ordered the laptops for 3.5 and 9.12. We had already ordered the 6.8 because that was our middle school initiative. And so those purchases alone have taken $4 million of the $6.8 million that we were allocated. The remaining funding will be for wireless access points to actually boost the services to be sure with all those new devices on the system we'll be able to keep up. Hotspots for students who do not have wireless access at home. The Clorox machines. The Clorox machines that we're going to actually be purchasing, which will allow us to efficiently disinfect schools timely for our students. Thermometers, which we've received every indication that we're going to be taking temperatures of everyone. And then also masks. Gloves, we are still having a hard time getting gloves, as are other educational institutions. Now, I will tell you that we have a sufficient stock currently. It is the restocking that we are working on right now. Because we have our own receiving and delivery warehouse, we did have inventory in stock when the pandemic kind of hit us. I will also say that there was another bill, Senate Bill 5, which is the solvency bill, and I didn't include a lot of the information because the majority of those were capital outlay projects that were being swept. And those did not directly impact Gallup McKinley County Schools. However, one of the things that bill did was there was a new bill from the 2020 regular session that should have taken effect, which was House Bill 254, which should have increased our Senate Bill 9 contributions by about $2.1 million. That bill was also scrapped. It was essentially reversed. So that's another kind of loss that would have been new money for next year for us. I will happily answer any questions. The legislative session still is in progress. The House actually just went back to the floor right as we were meeting. They were supposed to convene at 11, but they took a little bit longer. And there still are several other bills that are on the docket.
Any questions, board members? Kevin?
I just kind of was wondering how we're sitting, knowing we have no Johnson O'Malley money that has come in for this past school year, and also our impact aid money that we haven't received any of it at all yet for this past year. So,
Mr. Long, Mr. Mitchell, so the Johnson O'Malley funds, the district did meet the obligation that we typically do to parents regarding caps and gowns. We did utilize our Title VIII funding in order to make sure, well, Title VII now, that we met that obligation with our parents because we knew those were essential things that our parents needed. But the remainder of the Johnson O'Malley funds, we were not able to budget or utilize. On the impact aid, the district has received impact aid. What we are pending is the return of our credits, the state credits that have been taken. And that is an ongoing conversation with the state choosing to appeal the impact aid verdict from earlier this year. We have issued a right to intervene in front of the administrative law judge regarding that appeal. And we will also be asking that those funds that the state is holding pending the appeal be put into an escrow account to ensure that those funds are available whenever the verdict is read. As
So-
far as actual budget, the governor hasn't signed this yet. So we will see what actually happens if there's any additional line item vetoes from the governor. And then once the public education department actually issues a new unit value. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, every school district and charter school in the state is in the same spot. We basically submitted a budget that we knew was not going to hold.
okay, so with that being said, then, so our Johnson O'Malley money, I mean, we were going to approve an award letter, which should be followed by the money. School year is already done. Have we, I mean, the amount of money we're going to be getting from the JOM, I wonder what their rules or whatever they're going to give us to say you have to spend this in a week, or, you know, or here's your money, and are they going to try to take it back from us if we don't spend it right away? I mean, because I don't know.
So, Mr. Long, Mr. Mitchell, I will say that I'm not quite sure where in the award cycle they are. Every federal award has a 24-month cycle with a 3-month liquidation period. So I'm not sure where the Navajo Nation is on actually reverting funds for JOM because we're a sub-awardee of Johnson O'Malley. There could be a chance, and I don't know if Dr. White has any additional information on this, that they actually allow us to budget it for July through September because the nation, of course, is on a different fiscal year than we are. I can tell you if they give us that option, we'll try our best to make sure we spend it for our students. I think you guys know if anybody even hints that we get to keep money, we start spending it to make sure our students get what they need.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nada? Gushin. Thank you, Giovanna.
Thank you, Board.
Okay. Notices and communications, none. New business, none. Now we need to go into executive session. I need a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we go into executive session.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made by Michael Schaaf and second by Chris Mortensen to go into executive session. Roll call.
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen,
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes.
123.
Gushi, we will convene into the conference room.
have a date yet until we get a school calendar approved.
Okay, board members, are we ready to get out of executive session?
We are ready.
Need a motion and second?
Second?
Motion and second.
Motion to come out of executive session.
Okay, motion's been made by Kevin Mitchell to come
Second.
out of executive session, second by Michael Schaaf. Roll call, Joan?
Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen, Mr. Long.
Yes.
1:55.
Okay, we're out of executive session. Thank you, board members. In the executive session, a report on it, we received information on impact aid, and no action was taken or will be taken at this point. Thank you.
Mr. President, if there's no other business, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, motion's been made by Chris Mortensen to
Second.
adjourn, second by Michael Schaaf. Roll call.
Mr.
Joan?
Mitchell,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Mr. Mortensen.
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes.
1:56.
We're adjourned, board. Thank you. 1:56.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Giovanna, Joan, Paletta, Andrew.